Welcome back to TPS. The quarterback position is the most important in football, and the draft is usually the best place to find your franchise's QB of the future. Not every team is able to get it right when it comes to drafting their next great signal caller, but when they do get it right, they're big winners. But when these teams get it wrong and they use an early draft pick on a quarterback that's a bust, they're even bigger losers. I'm Justin's Fraction, and today we present the biggest quarterback draft bust every year from 2000 to 2018. At TPS, we post videos every single day, so don't forget to click the subscribe button to subscribe. Then click the notification bell to be notified when we post a new video. 2000, GIOVANNI, CARMAZZI. Chad Pennington was the only quarterback selected through the first 2 rounds of the 2000 draft, and the Jets actually got some good seasons out of him. As you may recall, some guy named Tom Brady would fall to the New England Patriots in the 6th round. The second QB taken from this draft was Hofstra product GIOVANNI CARMAZZI, whom the 49ers took in the 3rd round with the 65th pick. CARMAZZI was with the 49ers in 2000 and 2001, but never played a game for them. He later played in NFL Europe and would spend 2 seasons in the CFL. This guy didn't even play a game for the 49ers? Yeah, not the best way to invest a 3rd round pick. 2001, Quincy Carter. The 2-time quarterbacks were Michael Vick and Drew Brees, home run picks. You can't say the same about Quincy Carter, whom the Cowboys drafted 53rd overall. Troy Aikman was retired and the Cowboys dynasty was long gone. It was time to rebuild, and Carter was supposed to be the centerpiece of their rebuild. Carter only started 31 games for 3 seasons with the Cowboys, compiling a record of 16-15. He had just 29 touchdowns against 36 interceptions. Carter would play 1 season with the Jets but was out of the NFL soon after. 2002, David Carr. The expansion Houston Texans franchise received the 1st overall pick in the 2002 draft. They used it on Fresno State quarterback David Carr, but he never had a chance to begin with. Carr was sacked a whopping 76 times in his rookie year. The Texans failed to build a team around him. Carr could only do so much, and when all was said and done, he finished his tenure in Houston with a 22-53 record and 59 touchdowns against 65 interceptions. On the bright side, Carr did win a Super Bowl 46 championship ring as Eli Manning's backup with the Giants. Fun fact, scouts say that Derek Carr's draft stock fell in 2014 strictly because his older brother was a massive bust for Houston. 2003, Kyle Boller. You Jacksonville Jaguars fans might be screaming for us to put Byron Leftwich on here, but the number 7 pick from the 2003 draft actually had some good years and made the Jaguars a little more relevant. But Kyle Boller, who was taken 19th overall by the Baltimore Ravens, simply wasn't able to produce. Remember, this was a team with the league's best defense during the early 2000s and a power ground game led by Jamal Lewis. Boller basically just had to be a game manager, but he wasn't able to do it. Boller spent 5 seasons in Baltimore, but he was only the starter for 3 and only played 16 games once. He won 20 games against 22 losses and eventually lost his starting job when the Ravens brought in former MVP Steve McNair in 2006. 2004, J.P. LOSMAN. There's hope, Buffalo Bills fans. You haven't had a great quarterback since Jim Kelly retired over 2 decades ago. But hey, 2018 first-rounder Josh Allen sure looked poised for greatness. But long before Allen, the Bills viewed Tulane product J.P. LOSMAN as their QB of the future. He was selected 22nd overall by the Bills but wasn't able to deliver like other first-round QBs in a draft class that included Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, and Phillip Rivers. LOSMAN spent 5 years in Buffalo, but he was only the starter for 1 full season. The Bills eventually ruled with Trent Edwards, and LOSMAN would go on to make stops in Oakland and Miami. LOSMAN only won 10 games during his tenure in Buffalo. Simply not good enough for a first-round pick. 2005, Jason Campbell. Oh, so close. The Redskins drafted Campbell 25th overall. Who went right before him? That would be Aaron Rodgers. Campbell wasn't a terrible QB by any means. In fact, he did just enough to help Washington make the playoffs in 2007. But the reality is, Campbell didn't do enough to justify going in the first round. Campbell only spent 4 seasons in Washington. The most wins he recorded individually as a starter was 8. Campbell's final record in Washington was 20-32. 2006, Matt Leinart. Tennessee Titans fans were probably expecting Vince Young here, but at least he notched 2 Pro Bowl selections and an Offensive Rookie of the Year award. But when the Arizona Cardinals took USC signal caller Matt Leinart with the number 10 selection, the hype was through the roof. Unfortunately, Leinart wasn't able to stay healthy throughout his career, and when he was on the field, Leinart just couldn't translate his college game over to the NFL. Leinart never played more than 12 games in a season, and of course, future Hall of Famer Kurt Warner would eventually replace him as a starter. Leinart won just 7 games over his 4 years with the Cardinals, compiling 14 TDs and 20 interceptions. So not exactly worthy of the number 10 selection. 2007, JAMARCUS Russell. Who else was it going to be? The Oakland Raiders took Russell with the top pick in 2007, believing the big 6'5", 265-pound LSU product would finally reverse the franchise's fortunes. Russell lasted just 3 seasons in the NFL. His career stat line: a mere 52.1 completion percentage, 18 touchdowns, and 23 interceptions. You don't need to be a math whiz to calculate that it was a waste of a first overall pick. 2008 BROHM. Were the Green Bay Packers doubting Aaron Rodgers that much? Apparently. With Brett Favre temporarily retired, the Packers moved on and drafted Louisville signal caller BROHM with the 56th overall pick. Yeah, they totally had their doubts about Aaron Rodgers. Well, the good news for the Packers was that Aaron Rodgers turned out just fine. As for BROHM, he never threw a single pass in Green Bay. He'd seen minimal action with the Buffalo Bills in 2009 and 10, but was out of the league for good shortly afterwards. 2009 Mark Sanchez. No, Mark Sanchez is not the reason the Jets reached the 2009 and 10 AFC Championship games. Their powerful rushing game and elite championship-level defense led by Darrelle Revis was. The Jets drafted Sanchez 5th overall in 2009, and if you ignore those 2 fluky playoff runs, he was simply not good at all. Amazingly, Sanchez won 33 games against 29 losses with the Jets, but he also had 68 touchdowns against 69 interceptions. To be fair to Sanchez, this was one awful quarterback draft class. Matthew Stafford is the only QB here that actually turned out to be a consistent starter. The rest were or are backups, nothing more. 2010 Sam Bradford. The St. Louis Rams drafted the former Heisman Trophy winner 1st overall in 2010. Bradford's career got off to a promising start as he won Offensive Rookie of the Year after tossing 3,512 yards and 18 touchdowns. But as you all know, Bradford's career has been hampered by numerous injuries, namely ACL tears that ended his 2013 season early and forced him to miss all of 2014. That's really the main reason why Bradford was a bust here, and with a better coaching staff plus a better offensive supporting cast, he could have been a star. If only Sean McVay arrived before the Rams decided to cut ties with Bradford. Bradford has bounced around the league ever since. At least the Rams got Jared Goff 6 years later. 2011 Jake Locker. Jake Locker, Blaine Gabbert, Christian Ponder. Yep, there were sure a handful of big-time QB draft busts in 2011. But we have to put Jake Locker here since he was the first one taken among the aforementioned signal callers at number 8 overall. The Washington product saw little playing time in his rookie year and struggled in his sophomore season. Locker was putting together a solid 2013 campaign, but various injuries cut his season short. And unfortunately, Locker was also unable to stay healthy in the 2014 season, and Zach Mettenberger later took over as the starter. Locker retired just after 4 years, saying he lost the desire to continue. He finished with 27 touchdowns and 22 interceptions for his career. 2012 Robert Griffin III. The Colts drafted Andrew Luck with the 1st overall pick in 2012, which allowed Robert Griffin III to fall into the laps of the Washington Redskins. Washington had traded 3 first-round picks plus a second-rounder to the St. Louis Rams in order to move up to select RG3. Griffin won the 2012 Offensive Rookie of the Year award after leading Washington to the NFC East Division. That was it. Griffin's career was unfortunately derailed by knee injuries due to the team's gutless and ridiculous decision to have him play while hurt. Griffin's 2013 and 14 seasons were also hampered by injuries. He backed up Kirk Cousins in 2015 and was let go after a disappointing 4-year tenure in D.C. As usual, you can blame this one on Redskins management. 2013 E.J. Manuel. This 2013 draft class is shaping up to be one of the worst in history. At least that's what it looks like if you take a look at the first round. The scouts were right from the get-go. This class didn't really have any stud quarterbacks, but that didn't stop the Buffalo Bills from taking Florida State signal caller E.J. Manuel with the 16th overall selection. Manuel was piecing together a promising rookie year until an LCL sprain derailed his season. The Bills would then make Kyle Orton their starter in 2014 and Tyrod Taylor for the next 3 years after that. After his rookie year, Manuel only started 7 more games in Buffalo. That was one expensive backup quarterback. A first-round pick? Yikes. You can't blame Manuel entirely for the injuries and unlucky bounces, but you can blame the Bills for investing in him too early. 2014 Johnny Manziel. No, we're not putting Blake Bortles here. He actually had some good moments in Jacksonville and took him to the 2017 AFC Championship game. Thus, we refuse to acknowledge him as the biggest bust here in 2014. That honor instead goes to former Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel, taken with the 22nd overall pick. He messed around, he partied, he didn't do it. We've covered this. Anyways, Manziel would last just 2 years in Cleveland, starting only 8 games. He had just 7 touchdowns, 7 picks, and was released in the 2016 season. Manziel would make a brief stop in the CFL before heading over to the AAF. 2015 Jameis Winston. Only 2 QBs were taken in the top 74 picks, Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota. The latter has led his Tennessee Titans to 3 straight winning seasons, so yeah, no bust there. But the Buccaneers certainly hoped for better when they took Winston first overall in 2015. His off-the-field problems are well documented, but if Winston would have just behaved himself, he'd be a star quarterback by now. Unfortunately for the Bucs, Winston still hasn't been able to stay out of trouble. He's clashed with coaches. He was suspended for the start of the 2018 season after groping an Uber driver. His production has been nothing short of inconsistent. Through his first 4 seasons, Winston won just 21 games and had 33 losses. If new head coach Bruce Arians can't fix Winston, then nobody can. It's make or break time for the 2015 first overall pick. 2016 Paxton Lynch. Peyton Manning retired and Brock Osweiler left to sign with the Houston Texans. As a result, John Elway panicked and traded up to nab Memphis product Paxton Lynch with the 26th pick. The 6'7", 244-pound signal caller just never got the chance, though. The Broncos, for some reason, put Trevor Siemian as a starter over Lynch. Then Osweiler returned to Denver in 2017 and took over for Siemian instead of Lynch. So Lynch only played bits of 5 games through 2 years, and he only made 4 starts. He had 4 TDs and 4 interceptions and was cut by the Broncos before the 2018 season began. 2017 DESHONE KIZER. What a QB draft class this has turned out to be in such little time. Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, and Mitch Trubisky sign us up. But the Cleveland Browns made another draft mistake by taking DESHONE KIZER with the 52nd pick this year. It's true that they wound up with Baker Mayfield a year later, and we know Browns fans won't look back fondly on this selection. KIZER lost all 15 starts in Cleveland, with just 11 TDs against the horrible 22 interceptions. The Browns gave up quickly and sent him to the Green Bay Packers after his brutal rookie year. Well, that was a waste of a second-round pick. 2018 Josh Rosen. Well, it's way too early to know which QBs will pan out from this class and which ones will fail. Thing is, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson all showed so much promise in their rookie seasons. We can't quite say the same about Josh Rosen, though. The Arizona Cardinals selected Rosen with the 10th pick, and though he showed some promise at times in 2018, it just didn't stack up against the other QB prospects of this class. Granted, Rosen didn't have the best supporting cast, but he lost 10 out of 13 starts and compounded a mere 11 touchdowns versus 14 interceptions. We still believe he'll end up being a very solid quarterback, but based on his rookie season, Rosen had to be considered the most likely bust of the 2018 draft class. Lucky for him, he has all the time in the world to get better. I don't know why I did that. Which quarterback do you think is the biggest draft bust since 2000? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.